How do you achieve your deepest dreams and desires? Well, with discipline. Easier said than done? In this series of videos that I'm making on the weight loss mindset, this specific video is focused on the power of discipline. In this video, I'm going to give you the tools and the mindset on how to provoke discipline, actually crave it in your life in order to achieve your goals and your dreams. But who am I anyway? Well, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Talita from Shrinking with Keto. And throughout my ketogenic journey, I've now lost over 200 pounds and reversed my type 2 diabetes. Now, throughout this journey, I have helped and coached plenty of people reach their goal. And I hope I can do the same for you. Now, for those of you who haven't watched it, I highly suggest you go watch my first video in this series that explains your relationship with your weight loss journey and how it has to be committed, as in that of a marriage. Now, in the first part of the previous video, I explain how important it is to have a pain point, how important it is to have a why. Why are you actually going down this process? And you'll understand because this is immediately connected with the discipline. Because once you find the why, and I mentioned that in that video, you're going to find the how. Now, how do we implement the actual strategy? Well, with discipline. And I will like to start you off with one notion that there is no pleasure without the pain, that you need to struggle to get somewhere, and you need to embrace this struggle, this pain, in order to be able to feel the pleasure. So let me start you off with some simple everyday steps in order to introduce discipline in your weight loss journey. The first thing you need to do is know what it is you want to achieve. Weight loss, reversing type 2 diabetes, whatever other issue, health issue that you have chosen this diet for. Find out what it is and find out your why. So know what it is you want and why you want to achieve it. Now, once that is very, very clear in your head, I need you to write it down. Specifically, I need you to write it down on a piece of paper using a pen and a pencil. Don't type it. I need you to write it down in the notes of your cell phone, somewhere where you can access it at all points. And then I want you to write it down in the hard drive of your brain. Say it out loud, because your body and your mind processes the information out loud very differently. Say it out loud enough times to make sure that it is integrated in your subconscious. Now, once we have that, we need to set some rules. Yes, I know people hate rules, but guess what? This is a video on discipline, so there are going to be rules. Now, these rules are non-negotiable. Non-negotiable means regardless what happens in your everyday life, regardless how bad or how good things may be, these set of rules are non-negotiable. The same way that the fact that you're going to go to bed at some point during the 24 hours is non-negotiable. You have to choose one day a week where you're going to meal prep. One day, and that day is going to be so sacred that you're not going to be shifting it around. You're not going to say, every Tuesday I will meal prep, and then, oh look, your friend Lucy said let's go for drinks on Tuesday, so it's okay, you're going to do it on Wednesday, or you're going to shift it to Monday. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is a doctor's appointment. No, worse. This is an appointment with your future. So you set that day for meal prepping, and that day is off limits. You also need 2 hours previous to the day that you are going to meal prep to set your meal for the week. And not only your meal for the week, this is going to be very specific. Now, on your calendar, Monday through Sunday, you are going to write down specifically, you need to be very specific, what your breakfast is going to be, what your lunch is going to be, what your dinner is going to be. If you have snacks, what your snacks are going to be. If you're implementing fasting, and this is something I highly suggest, it also helps with the whole discipline mindset, which days and times you're going to be fasting. And once it's on paper, it's non-negotiable. The only thing you can negotiate on your meal plan of the week is skipping the meal. The only thing you negotiate is skipping the meal. Meaning, if you reach Tuesday at lunch and you're not hungry, guess what? That's an impromptu fasting right there. But the days that you've actually written down you're going to fast, you will fast. And if it gets hard, you will embrace it, because that's part of the discipline mindset. The reason that you want to make this list prior to the meal prep is very simple. It's because you need to order or buy all the food that you need, that you have on that list for the week, before the day that you will prep your meals. Step number 3, and this is very important, plan B. Life happens. Things happen. And if you come home and you actually had to work late, or you had to go pick up your kids and something just happened, guys, this is life. You can't really plan for everything. You will plan it, but you need a plan B. So what happens if there's a snowstorm and all of a sudden you can't reach the grocery store because you had planned on getting rotisserie chicken on Wednesday and you can't? Well, during your meal prep, you need to always prep 3 meals that are freezer friendly and have them in your freezer, so that if life happens, you have a plan B and you're not going to end up being with no food. So you pop the meal out of the freezer and have a perfect ketogenic meal ready for you. And finally, if you work out, which again, I highly suggest, before you go to bed, take your workout clothes. And this sounds so simple and you're like, I don't really need to do this, Talita. I'm just going to pull them out when I need them. No, you won't. Because the time it takes you to convince yourself that you are not in the physical state to work out is only 1 second. I want your clothes set out next to you at eye level the minute you open your eyes. So if you sleep on this side, okay, I want your clothes to be on this side, meaning you open your eyes, you see your workout clothes, and it is giving a signal to your brain that you need to put them on. Now I will tell you something. If you're a woman, as women, we have days that we physically cannot work out. You're still going to get up and wear your workout clothes. This is very important. Whether that means all you're going to do is make coffee in them, I need you to physically get out of your pajamas and into your workout clothes. This is going to help you. Now let's move to the second section of this video. What tools can we use on our day-to-day basis to help us stay focused in this discipline mindset on our priority? The first tool you can use, and it's absolutely free, and I want you to download it right now, is a food tracking app. Something as simple as a food tracking app keeps you accountable with you. Now, I don't care if you're eating the exact same meal you had yesterday or the day before or every day. You track everything in that food tracking app. Everything that goes in your mouth goes in the app. That's accountability, and that is discipline, and that is a tool for free that you can use starting right now. The next tool you can use is YouTube. YouTube has numerous motivational videos, and do not laugh. I have been on my weight loss journey for over 3 years. And every day when I wake up, I start my day with one thing and one thing only, and that is a motivational video. Now, you have to find what speaks to you. Discipline doesn't speak to everybody. Some people need to hear birds chirping, and that motivates them to start their day. Some people, like me, need to hear the thunderstorm. Whatever it is that works for you, I want you to find it on YouTube for free. Put it on your playlist before you go to bed. And as soon as you open your eyes, press play. Every morning, make sure to get yourself motivated. Tool number 3. Remember the piece of paper that I asked you to write your goal, your what and why? What it is you want. Why is it you're doing it? The first thing you're going to do in the morning, once you start your motivational video, is read to yourself out loud what it is you want and why you do it. Now, don't worry about people around the house thinking you're crazy. You can go and do it in the bathroom. No excuses. And if you think these tools are foolish, guess what? They worked for me. So they might just work for you. Try it. Now, a full disclaimer here. If you're suffering from depression or post-traumatic stress disorder, please skip this next step. This tool is a tool that I created for myself because this tool helped me stay disciplined and motivated. But there is a death trigger. And if you're suffering from depression or post-traumatic stress disorder, I suggest that for the time being, just skip this tool. This tool is what I call the death list. Yes, you heard me right. This is not a bucket list. This is not something romantic like what I would like to do with my life before I die. No, 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 no. This is the death list. Meaning, you take a piece of paper, you make a line right down the middle. On one side, you write death. And on the other side, you write life. And then you list every single thing you do each day on what side it goes. Meaning, what am I doing right now? If I light a cigarette, that's just taking me a step closer to death. If I'm having water, that's taking me a step closer to life. Meaning, pushing death a little further down the line. Now, once you finish this, and I'm talking about the details too, like walking down a flight of stairs or walking up a flight of stairs. But listen to me, skating down a flight of stairs. I don't know, you judge where it goes on the list. But once you finish putting everything on that list, what is bringing you closer to death and what is pushing death further away? Now you look at that list. And if it was like my list in the beginning, where the side where death was had a lot more things written on it than the side that life had, you need to make sure you change that balance. Because once you visualize, once you write it down, the next time you're lighting that cigarette, you'll be like, oh no, I just took another step closer to death. Now, this is not for everyone, okay? And I don't want you to do it if it's going to trigger you negatively. You know how you think. You know who you are. For me, it worked. And for a lot of people I have helped, it worked. Because when I have it on paper, that candy bar takes a whole new meaning. That cookie takes a whole new meaning. Because if I am type 2 diabetic like I was, eating that cookie is not just about indulging in, okay, I just had a cookie, now it's okay, I'll just get back on tomorrow. No, I just added an extra stone on the scale towards death. And that, my friend, is a tool. My final tool is something that proves to us the power of mind. Now, this was initially taught to me when I was very young and I had a cast on. I used to get itching everywhere under that cast and I could not scratch that itch. So a very sage person once told me, I want you to close your eyes, visualize where it is that you're itching. Now I want you to carefully build 4 walls of glass around the itching point. And I want you to visualize yourself inside this box of glass and slowly but surely break down by kicking every single piece of glass around the itching point. And guess what, guys? By the time I finished doing that, the itching was gone. Now, don't ask me how and don't ask me why. And I tried it over and over again and it worked like a miracle every single time. Now, when I started with my ketogenic journey, I also pretty soon started with fasting. And guess what? I was hungry. I am not going to lie. That ghrelin hormone, hunger hormone was everywhere. And I couldn't get rid of it. And I would obsess over it. And guess what? There were times that I gave in. Finally crossed my mind. And I said, what if I try that itching box theory? So I visualized my hunger hormone. Like really visualize it. I don't know, put a color to it. Say, it's an orange ball. And visualize it in the pit of your stomach. Now go inside it. Build the 4 walls, the 4 glass walls, but visualize yourself placing the glass walls around you and this hunger hormone. and then kick them down as hard as you can. Guess what, guys? It worked. Because ghrelin, the hunger hormone, acts like a wave. It peaks, but then it comes right down if you can fight that peak. And when it peaks, try the box. It actually works, and it shows you the power of our mind. Now, before we move on to the next section of this video, let me interrupt you for a second. If this is the first time you're seeing this pretty face, come on, let's make sure it's not the last. So please go ahead and subscribe to my channel and ring that bell icon so that YouTube can let you know every single time I make a new video for you. And please feel free to ask me anything you want down in the comment section below, and I will try my best to answer every single one of your questions. Now, how do you keep yourself focused on your goal when temptations are hitting you right and left? You see, the problem is not starting your weight loss journey with the newfound enthusiasm, because when we start something new, like learning how to play the guitar or track and field, we always start with this newfound enthusiasm. That's not the problem, starting it. Maintaining it and staying focused, that's where the challenge is. The problem is standing in a room full of temptations, and having a strong enough why, there's that why again, that all these temptations are way beneath you. Now, do not expect that the first time this is going to happen, you're going to be like, oh, it's so easy not to have brownies, so easy not to have Coke, so easy not to have chips. Absolutely not. It's just that when you look at that brownie, go to your why. And guess what? That's where you're going to need your phone. Actually, physically stop. Pull out your phone. Go to the note that I told you to write. Read where it is you're going and why. Read it. Read it to yourself. Literally read it. Then look at that brownie again. Then read it again. Do that as many times as you need to. And instead of avoiding temptations, and listen to me on this, I started the ketogenic diet working at an Italian restaurant full of pasta and pizza, and really good pasta and pizza, may I say. And it was everywhere, and I could smell it every day. But guess what? You need to want to be surrounded by temptation at all times, because you're going to build a callus, just like the callus you build on your skin. You're going to build a callus to the brownie, to the Coke, to the chips. You're going to build a callus. It's inevitable. The more you're exposed to something, the more tolerance you have. The more you're exposed to something, the more tolerant you become to it. And that's just nature. The more you see something, the less new it is to your eyes and to your senses, the less you're going to want it. That builds callus, and callus builds discipline. And always go back to your note. What do you want? And how bad do you want it? What do you want and how bad do you want it? What is your why? And if it breaks with a brownie, it's not big enough. Find a bigger why, a selfisher why. Find your pain point. We all have one. Just dig deep inside and tell me what your pain is. Find it. Go back to it. The bottom line is that when we do things like procrastinate, like have fun for the moment, but very undisciplined movements in our life, just live life as it comes, afterwards we end up feeling empty, unfulfilled. If we needed to get something done and instead we binge watched Netflix, well, we were actually having fun while we were doing it, but how do you feel after? Just think about that. And then when we do something disciplined, as simple as paying our bills on time, how do you feel after that? You feel a sense of accomplishment. You feel a sense of gratitude to yourself and a sense of strength. Because when you follow the rules that you set for yourself, when you follow the discipline, you will feel the sense of accomplishment. And guess what? That's going to be your driver to get you to your end goal. Because when you cheat on your diet or in your relationship, which I hope you haven't done, or even in your everyday life by procrastinating and just watching movies back to back, or playing games. You don't feel good afterwards. You know it, and I know it. So do yourself a favor. Get this disciplined mindset set in. Follow the rules I gave you. Try it. You have nothing to lose. And you know what? If it doesn't work for you, just delete the channel altogether. But if it does, and it gets you on the other side, trust me, it's amazing where I'm standing from right now. So there you have it. My steps to achieving the power of discipline for your weight loss journey. And as always, chin up, or you know by now, the crown slips.